And at long last, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our final day of Game Show League action. We've got 3 best-of-3s headed your way today. First, NVMI versus Virtus Pro. Winner of this moves directly into the grand finals. The loser finishes tied 3rd, 4th place. Second match will be Navi versus Empire. Winner of that also to the grand finals. And then we have the grand finals. So 3 best-of-3s coming your way today. I'm your host, LD. I am joined here remotely by GoDz from Australia, and I think he has a good mic now. How you doing, GoDz? You know what? Actually, if you mute it.
Hey?
Oh, there we go.
I'm pretty good. Hopefully I sound a bit better than the other day, so let me know.
Yeah, you sound pretty good. Your webcam, or was it even a webcam mic, or was it like your laptop webcam mic or something?
It was a webcam mic. It was a good webcam, just a good webcam with a shitty mic. So well, they don't put good mics on good webcams.
All right. Well, glad to have you here with us with crystal clear audio. Knock on wood, it stays that way with that Australian internet. But yeah, NVMI, first overall pick, and they're going to go for something they have not shown at all this tournament, and it's a Tinker first pick. Obviously a strong hero. We've seen teams banning it out versus, I think Navi's the main team it's been banned against this tournament, and well, first pick Tinker. It does give VP plenty of time to respond to it, and they go Viper Brew, so not really heroes that are great at ganking the Tinker, but very heavy push early on could be coming out for VP.
Yeah, and Viper's really annoying mid-game for Tinker to deal with corrosive skin. You can't rely on your rearm blink if Viper's sitting in the match, it just instantly disables your blink, so a semi-counter to the Tinker, and I think, it disables his blink. They need someone to actually kind of jump and help pick him off, which is going to maybe come later with the draft, but I think it's like you say, if Virtus Pro can push down towers, it's fantastic. And sure, Tinker much delays pushes, but there's only so much you can do against a Brewmaster threat when he can blink in, clap ulti, and kind of push you away from your tower.
Yeah, and going for this Wisp as well, it really signifies that NVMI want to spread the map. So they'll be looking to basically pull VP apart, prevent them from grouping, and well, we'll have to see if VP are able to force the issue. They removed the Bristleback now. It's a hero that a lot of the Chinese teams, I know Winter has talked about this a few times, consider somewhat of a counter to Brew, just because he's very tanky, and the Quills do a lot of work to kill off the Fire Panda especially. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think that was at least Winter's reasoning for why he banned Bristle against the Brew, and well, VP will remove it here.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Bristleback the last few days in Style of Europe. Teams are running it mostly as a carry as well. Like, there was one game where there was a ridiculously farmed Bristleback with a Wisp. It was a Wisp-Bristleback combo, and the Bristleback just was destroying everyone. So, a hero that's kind of starting to become popular, just like you say, it's very tanky, kind of hard to deal with. And against Brewmaster, it's always like when he hits like level 6, level 7, has a Blink Dagger, can kill most heroes on the map, but Bristleback, one of the few that he struggles to kill.
And now Scarth Mage. So VP, really strong early roaming potential, and this hero just makes life miserable for Wisp. Like, the squishiness of a Wisp combined with the burst damage of a Scarth Mage, it's not exactly a match made in heaven for the Wisp, so if she gets caught, we'll struggle. And this also gives VP the really strong early game to try and shut down the Tinker before he comes online. So I do like the way VP's drafting, as they just clearly have a, let's just win the game before Tinker or Wisp come online.
I'm really curious what GoBlack has planned, because this to me looks like such a set draft. The fact they first picked Tinker when they haven't played it all tournament. I don't think have they played Wisp throughout the tournament?
No, haven't run Wisp. Well, there were like 2 games I did not cast because they played like 3 games at once. But out of the games I cast, there was no Wisp. Tinker was only run by Navi, and HR actually ran it. And Yoki played an amazing Tinker. He was like 10-1, crushing, but his team fed, so they lost. And, well, prepared strategy. They go for Elder Titan, and you can TP onto the Astral Spirit. I think it's one of the stupidest things in the game that Tinker can TP to. There's also the Panda aspects, which are a little weird, but yeah, it does give him some mobility there. Yeah,
it's I'd have to agree. It's not really a unit. It's like it's technically, it's like an illusion of a hero, like a quasi-illusion. And for some reason, you can TP to it. Synergizes really well with the Tinker for the TP, as well as amplifying damage coming out from his missiles and giving vision for those heat-seeking missiles as well early on. This is really pesky to deal with. So there is some synergy definitely with this Go Black draft, and curious to see what they pair with the Wisp. I don't think they need to go for like a classic Wisp Tiny necessarily. We see some teams just prefer to run Wisp with like a support Sand King and do the damage there, but Go Black definitely has something up his sleeve here.
If anyone could concoct a diabolical plan to beat the 5-man Dota that was all the rage nowadays, I feel like it would be Godblack. So
Yeah.
he's the mad genius, and he is literally tinkering right now to try and come up with a solution. But VP get the Wraith King, so dire side they'll have an easier time securing the Roshan. Of course, this also gives them a very strong roaming duo in the Skywrath Wraith King, and I really for NVMI they just have to anticipate these VP movements perfectly, get some good observer wards up, because I'm looking at a VP lineup that if they don't roam from level 1, they are definitely going to be all over you from like level 6 through 15 or so, or minute 6 through 15, I should say.
They're going to have to put some effort into protecting the Tinker mid. Skywrath, Wraith King, they don't even have to smoke together. Even just one of those supports coming mid with the Brewmaster is likely to get kills on the Tinker, so have to be very careful. Sven was going to be the pickup for GoBlack's team here, so with Sven, probably a Sven core, although it can be run as a support as well, so it's a bit of a flexible pick, but I think with the Wisp there, generally you'll see a carry Sven.
Yeah, and, well, it's a carry Sven against a Viper, so generally you'd say he'd struggle, but with the Wisp backing him up, may have the mobility to get into these fights and be a nuisance, but he will. It looks like he'll be kind of the frontline damage sponge and tank for this game if they do run him as a core. And VP ban out the Chen for Godblack. A virtually forgotten hero. I have not seen NVMI run it yet this tournament. I don't think I've cast a Chen game in like 5 months. Even like in the months leading up to TI, I didn't see him at all.
I've had Enchantress, but yeah, not Chen. So yesterday, speaking of like the junglers, like yesterday Alliance, they had a Aki Enchantress, but Loda was playing Sven as a carry against 5 heroes with ultimates that like went through BKB. And somehow it worked and they won the game. So even against it was like Viper, Doom, all these hard counters, that Bane, Fiend Script, like all these spells that went through his BKB, it somehow still managed to carry the game. So goes to show like you could be up against some of these heroes and still have a big impact if you have the backup that you need. In his case, it was a Tidehunter to help keep people in place. And that's something where if you want your Sven dealing damage with the Wisp Sven combo, you need kind of another lockdown hero, which Elder Titan stun isn't really the best disable, so I think getting something like a Sand King, an Earthshaker type hero, something with some good lockdown to kind of benefit the Sven is kind of going to be important for GoBlack with the last pick.
Yeah, getting something like that would weaken their lanes a bit, and I'm looking at a lot of aggression from VP. It looks to be a tri-lane. Skywrath Mage, Wraith King, Ancient Apparition, very, very potent. Looks like a core Wraith King as well, which is something we don't see all that often. I'd say we see it sometimes against Doom. We'll see the Wraith King picks, but even then he's often support. It's just not that common nowadays, but it does give them a secondary Blink Initiator if he can farm it up. And for NVMI, it's just going to be all about can they dodge the onslaught in the laning stage at this point. I see VP just constantly going for smoke ganks, tower dives. Maybe not with the Brew and the Viper, but certainly with these other 3 heroes. And, well, it's up to Godblack to predict those lanes and make the appropriate adjustments.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Virtus Pro can go offensive trialing if they want. They've got a really strong killing combo with their, Skywrath, Wraith King, AA, if that's going to be the tri-lane. So options are plenty for Virtus Pro. They're gonna be the ones setting the tempo in the first 5-10 minutes of the game. Like you look at heroes like Tinker, Elder Titan, very level dependent, don't really offer much defensive capabilities, don't really offer much of anything as far as the laning stage is concerned. So it's a very, very weak early game. Even a hero like Wisp, like his laning is very mediocre. So Sven so far, the only kind of decent-ish laning hero.
Yeah, I mean there are situations where Wisp can excel, but that's normally if you have like the +1 advantage or they have really squishy heroes who can't outburst you. And Skywrath Mage Ancient Apparition will outburst a Wisp early on, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So last pick for NVMI. What's Godblack got planned? They've run a decent amount of a Baden. No, not good. And I was gonna say I saw his Treant Protector once a couple of days ago, I think. But no, it's an Enchantress for Godblack, and this will help shore up their laning stage quite a bit and give them some presence over those first 5-8 minutes.
Yeah. Just having that strong early ganker of your own just means Virtus Pro aren't the only ones moving around the map, deciding how the game progresses. It means GoBlack can make some movements of his own and gets. I mean, you look, a lot of these heroes are pretty squishy, especially the supports and the Skywrath and the Ancient Apparitions. So very gankable, squishy heroes. Even mid lane, like with a 2-hero smoke, you can even gank someone like a Brewmaster. So I like the Enchantress pick.
It also gives them more units for the Tinker to TP to now. So you've got the relocate if they ever need to try and bail them out of an awkward situation. They have the Enchantress creeps to TP to, as well as the Elder Titan Spirit, which will probably be his main vehicle this game. So we'll see. Also gives them a hero that can be stacking the Ancients with the creep while Godblack's farming. And with that, we get into it. It's our first, excuse me, best of 3 of the tournament. It's been all BO1s until now, and, well, we'll see if VP can get off to that hot start. The more traditional draft for sure here. You've got BZZ as perfect, handling the Wraith King, or 6-3-3. G will be playing the Brewmaster. Yol, the Skywrath Mage. Sidoi, the Viper. And it does leave Jadam, not on his Potom. His Marana has been absolutely sensational the past day or so, but he won't be playing it here. And then over to NVMI, where Lil will handle the Wisp. Scandal going safe lane as the Tinker. Illidan on the core Sven. Godblack, your Enchantress. And last but not least, DK Phobos will be heading to the offlane as the Elder Titan. The smoke gank from VP. Will they find someone? Oh, they might. Big Hot Lil out now. And with the Chilling Touch damage, he's going to be in trouble. Can he tether over the tree line? No, just gets away in time.
Alright, made it out. It was a big 5-man smoke from VP, so they don't get a kill, they get some wards down. Using the Wraithfire Blast isn't really too big a deal because he's already starting to regen mana, and the good news is for NVMI is they dodged that gank, and they were positioned 4 heroes right at that tier 2 tower. Like, they weren't even moving out to protect their jungle because they know VP have such a strong level 1, they don't even want to try and contest it.
Yeah, especially, and with Chilling Touch in this tri-lane, it is still going to be a little scary, but let's see, do they rotate the Tinker? Yeah, he ends up going mid, so Scandal not rushing the bottle with the early no talisman, focusing on his early last hits, and should have a decent matchup here against the Brew, unless those rotations come in. So, like you said, important to dodge that one. They'll be running a dual lane in the bottom lane, the Wisp Sven, and this is up against a lot of burst damage. The Wisp is going to have to sit quite far back here to avoid going down, and won't be doing any pulling as the camp is blocked.
It's a pretty scary. Goback does have the option to not just smoke gank mid, but smoke gank bottom. That's where having the 2 squishy supports, neither with good escapes, could be like you go bottom with 2 creeps and the Sven stun to initiate. That could be maybe where Goback goes. Traditionally, your Enchantress, you look at early smoke ganks mid, but I think this game your focus may be more towards the bottom lane. But
he doesn't have smoke right now. Godblack's just rolling around with Sentry Wards. He's got the money for it if he wants to buy one. And his jungle it's rather barren. This camp's blocked off, and so too is the pole camp.
I feel like Enchantress without smoke is just... You're no longer Enchantress. This hero relies on early smoke so much.
This is not good for Lil. He gets caught out with the Chilling Touch damage, even through the tether. He gets chunked down to 150 HP. 1 or 2 more auto attacks and he's dead, and if they take a point in the silence for the Skywrath Mage, he's not going to be able to tether out like that, so Lil has to play it safer.
Yeah. BZZ does run out of mana, but gets a clarity from a teammate, so this is the only clarities they have in lane, as the Skywrath uses one as well, so there's pretty much only 1 Wraithfire Blast left for this tri-lane.
That's true. They are running low on mana, and it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to ferry a few more clarities in, but Godblack will rotate through. And actually the ward they have doesn't spot this rotation out, because he came from a bit from the north, and so they go on the Yol with the stun. Now getting the tether slow, the follow-up from the Enchantress is there with the net, but it's just not enough to get the kill. Godblack still running Jadam back, though, in this very slow Sven. Desperately trying to get off 2 more auto attacks. Just needs 1 more. First blood, and they even forced out some additional regen from the Ancient Apparition, as narrowly the Satyr Blast will be dodged by Yol on the retreat out. A lot of pressure from the Godblack.
Yeah, that's the danger of the offensive trialing with these squishy supports. Enchantress comes in. They had no ward for it. And even if you have a ward like in a better position to detect it, if Enchantress smokes, it's going to work anyway, so... Very vulnerable bottom lane, and its damage isn't done. BZZ, he's caught out as well. That was...
I'm already feeling, why don't we see more Enchantress, you know? It's 2 minutes in, and the hero clearly still has a lot to bring to the table.
I don't think they were expecting Sven to have mana for another stun there, but thanks to the Wisp, Clarity Tether, Sven gets a lot of mana back, and he's even got another stun. He's used like multiple stuns already in this lane, and he's still good to go.
And these supports are not getting their early boots out in the Ancient Apparition, the Skywrath Mage. They don't have any smokes picked up, so they're kind of stuck here bottom lane. And this is a good time to look at our other lanes. In the off lane, DK Phobos on the Elder Titan, he's actually beating the Viper in terms of last hits. 12-2.
That's incredible.
Versus 9-7. To beat a Viper as basically any melee hero is very impressive. Maybe a Darkseer.
That's really
just
good.
Creep skip.
Yeah, this is not a matchup he should be doing this well. And Sidoi, 2 points in Nether Toxin, and... Can't really fight DK Phobos because he has so much extra damage thanks to the Astral Spirit.
And then over to the mid lane, we can take a quick look there. Scandal running the Tinker. Has not stacked his own Ancients yet, just focused on his early CS, but he is falling a bit behind in CS to G, but it's not an overwhelming amount, and an annoying matchup with that early point in Drunken Haze picked up.
Yeah.
And as we all know, Tinker is the comeback hero, so if they just stack up some camps later on, he'll be fine.
Yeah, you can look like you're far from your boots of travel, and suddenly you found like over 1,000 gold in one fell swoop from some ancients. So For VP, the big problem is this offensive trial is just kind of being crushed, and they're getting zoned out completely. They can't really leave the safety of their tower after third of the Enchantress ganks, and they're also being denied experience and having the lane pulled back by the pull whale, because they blocked off the pull early, but it got dewarded. So now NVMI just have great control over bottom lane.
Yeah, Goblek found that one in a very unusual position as well, dropping the sentry ward over here. Maybe, you know what, I think he actually thought there was a magic bush, because there was a sentry blocking this camp, so rather unfortunate, I guess, to get that other ward dewarded, because that was their observer as well. So they're not only not blocking the camp, but they're playing in the dark. And now the rotation top lane from G. He's heading around onto DK Phobos, but Phobos will juke into the trees, completes his soul rate, and they're still going to find him here. He didn't have money for a TP scroll, tries to stomp, it's not going to happen. And G gets on the board and begins making plays for his team.
Yeah, that was nice. Phobos tried to get the 1 point in the stomp just to survive, but...
Scandal's got to be careful here. There's a primal split, and I think G's going to die for this one. The laser wears off. He gets just a couple more double damage auto attacks. Where's that split? No, he's not going to use it. Could have maybe gotten the kill there, but decides it's not worth it.
Would have been close. You have the bottle charges, so you can kind of like bottle up in between damage, but I think he maybe gets that kill. Would have been, like you say, very close call, and if you don't get the kill, it's a pretty big wasted cooldown.
Yeah, I guess the thought process here is, if I TP bottom with my ult, maybe we can wipe their dual or tri-lane if the Enchantress is in the lane. So he plays it safe for now. And in good news for VP, the Viper is finally having his way in this top lane. Was starting to catch up before the Panda even rotated, and now with the kill there, 30 and 10 to the, as you would expect, Elder Titan struggling, but he's still getting his levels is the main thing, and with the Soul Rain, he'll just keep on spamming this lane. So I think NVMI, all things considered, GoDz, like, their draft was a little bit concerning in the laning stage, and then they picked this Enchantress, and so far it has been the glue that's pulled them together.
Yeah, Phobos doesn't need the like free farm in the offlane anyways. He'll just go for probably like a value, like a mech for the team, something fairly cheap, something that he'll get in like around the 10 to 15 minute mark. And Viper's like sure he's free farming, but he's got the phase boots, which is it helps him control the lane, but it doesn't really scale that well into the mid game. So that's kind of in some ways, I mean, not necessarily wasted gold, but it's gold spent on something that doesn't really benefit him much later on. So I think all in all, NVMI don't really mind that this offlane Viper's out farming the Elder Titan. They're just happy with how the other two lanes are going.
And as for G, he'll pick up an Invis rune now. This may be the opening to go for Scandal. Although Godlike is fairly close to the lane and could make a rotation if need be. And that's where we want to keep an eye on our Wisp as well, is relocate up. Not yet, Lil only level 4, but making good progress towards the ultimate, so they have to be careful about waiting too long. If they wait too long and dive, then we could see relocate turning these ganks. And VP still searching for their momentum here. 7 minutes in, they're trailing in gold, they're trailing in experience with a lineup that really wants to have a lead.
They've blocked the Tinker Ancients now, but he hasn't even been attempting to stack these, so I guess eventually he will start wanting to farm them. Alternatively, he can farm his own jungle, but either way, Scandal mid-level 7 has the max march, is looking like he should get an okay timing on his boots of travel.
Yeah, and it is a Radiant Tinker as well, so he can farm the 3 camps very easily. If the jungle's protected. Yeah. Though his team is not stacking those really either for him. I haven't seen NVMI run Tinker before, and it is feeling a bit like they're not quite as polished with getting his economy out to a fast start as some other teams.
They're not running him like that one position hero that most teams will. Like they put everything into the Tinker basket. Stack camps for him, stack Ancients. This is more, it feels more like they want to protect the Sven.
More cry bottom lane. They're diving onto BZZ now. They've got to net a follow-up from Godlike, and with that, they'll surround him, and they'll gobble him up. Easy kill there. Meanwhile, top lane, Sadoy going on to DK Phobos. There's no Scarith Mage ult. And he'll just calmly TP out. And then on the mid, G diving Scandal, he'll split. And he'll look for the Tinker. Boulder tosses there. Gets off some decent auto attack damage, but where's that Cyclone? He had to windwalk. Was getting blocked a bit during this time. Now Cyclone's him. He could drop him back down and Boulder toss again. The laser was there, but still, I think he'll bring him down. It's going to be close for Scandal. He might actually juke his way out of this. The immolation ends, and G's not in a great position. He returns to the farthest away Panda. Now he has to TP out. Oh, Scandal. Nice jukes. Fancy footwork as he makes his way out.
Yeah. That laser saves his life as well. The miss on that Fire Panda does the most damage of the 3, so every little bit about that, just narrowly avoiding the kill. And that's like the kind of kill he could have gone for earlier. When it doesn't work, it now means 2 minutes without that Brewmaster split. he can't really gank. He doesn't have the Blink Dagger anyway, so by the time he has Blink, he'll probably have Split back up. But it's still just a pretty important cooldown that VP rely on to kind of control the mid game. So not something they want to just be using and not getting kills.
Obviously easy for us as spectators to say he should have gone for that kill mid, but the first time around. But
yeah,
it really feels that way now.
It's really hard. I mean, if it's a similar result, then it's obviously not going to work out. But it definitely looked like a better opportunity. But he'll have his blink soon enough. So either way, like he misses a kill, he's still kind of on track to where he needs to be for like the mid game, the 10 to 15 minute mark. And even though he doesn't have any kills just now, next split definitely look to see him make something happen when he has his blink.
Well, VP are looking a bit underleveled here, GoDz. They've got 2 level 4 supports. The Wisp is getting close to 6. The Enchantress already level 7. And where I really worry for them is if they just get out of position. Like, just slightly overextending against this NVMI lineup will be disastrous with the Wisp and the Tinker Boots of Travel. Not coming anytime super soon, as he has gone back for Soul Ring, but pretty standard build. Still should have them, I'd imagine, like around 12, probably more like 13, 14 minutes if all goes well.
Yeah, this is fine. Looks like he's gonna head up, try stack the Ancients, but this will be to no avail with the Observer Ward there. So, Scandal. They'll quickly figure out what's going on with the block there, and it should be even without the Ancient stack. I think Tinker is farming well enough, and he's kind of on track to be in a pretty good spot. G though has good as Blink, and he's going to be looking to hunt Tinker. I think is his #1 priority.
Yeah, that's where the relocates can come in handy. Some extra regen from the Wisp maybe turns the fight. Keeps your Tinker alive. And speaking of that Sven-Wisp combo, they have level 6 now on the Sven. He can push this tower down bottom lane. It's pretty impressive to see what for the most part was a dual lane, just a few Enchantress rotations. Godlike kept up his farm, and the Sven has still done a ton of damage to this off-lane tower for a VP.
This VP ward actually doesn't block the Ancients, it looked like. Must have been just ever so slightly misplaced, yeah.
Oh, Godlike.
Very close.
Godblack gets called out by G, but G just can't auto-attack him. He's going to have to wait for a clap to cool down. Body blocking for support to arrive. Amazing body block from G. Plenty of time to bring in the reinforcements, but look how slowly they auto-attack. Guys, my Dota is not lagging. That is just the power of Untouchable in action. Sven will finish off the Wraith King. Unfortunately, that Wraith King had his ult ready. This may go south for them. They'll kill off the Sven, and now they can look for the Wisp as well. Cyclone, drop back down. Oh, the relocate brings him back. Just, as my mouse freaks out. Yeah, they'll finally get Godlike here. They're just so slow to kill him off. Oh my goodness.
I was looking at it earlier, I'm like, why? He's gone for 3 early points in Untouchable. It's like, there's not that many right clickers on the enemy team. Like, it felt like it'd maybe benefit more from the heal, but you see a fight like that and you're like, okay, Untouchable, even against, like, non-right clickers, is still a lot of damage that's being blocked, so... And they just couldn't even get a single right click off. Like, they're just like, okay, let's just wait for spells to cool down.
Yeah, that was awkward. They do still get the Sven kill, but even there, it's like they're only splitting to kill the one. And these guys really love pointing out the items in all spectator chat.
I didn't realize you could do that in spectator chat, like alt-click stuff.
And the funny part is it says enemy Vipers. It's like, we were joking yesterday, that all the players and casters truly are enemies, and Dota 2 is setting back caster-player relations at least a couple of years.
Oh, man.
I thought we were all friends now, God. It's not the case. Jump on a Scandal mid. Oh no, G's in too deep for this. He doesn't have the... Oh, trying to retreat out. Doesn't have the split available. Will end up going down. They do manage to get the Tinker kill, but the trade may be here. Sadoy also on the way out. He's already used Mechanism. Stun for Sven cooling down soon. But where's the backup from the Wisp? It now arrives. Still Illidan, incredibly slow, getting pounded by all these nukes. Manages to get off the stun, lives through the aggression, and then turns with the 3 or splitter. But where's the backup? Just a little bit more damage. That's all they need. They get it from Godblack as he starts spamming out the nukes on his creep, and 3 cores fall. The lone survivors for VP, they're 2 supports.
That was such a sick Echo Stomp from the Elder Titan, saving the Sven's life, and that was
they're going deep for this. Maybe not deep enough, though. The concussive shot will end up barely saving him.
They get so much mobility with Warcry combined with the Tether movement speed. They're just diving you under your towers, left, right, and center, NVMI.
They have split soon. Does G go in now? Claps there, on 3, got Storm bolted. But do they continue pursuit? Now they still have Illidan. There is no relocate for a long time, and the Ice Blast is going to connect on all 3. They're close to shattering. Illidan's probably going to drop here. A few more nukes would finish the job. 1 more stun. Brings him down. Do they dive further? G blinking it again. He'll clap the Wisp, and now chasing for Godblack. Could split for this, but doesn't want to risk getting juked after the last time, I think. Oh no, he'll be forced to. And Godblack makes his way out. Gets Boulder tossed. Is there an Enchantress heal available? No, there's not, so he just has to run his way out. But even the Panda aspects can't do anything to Godblack. All he can do is try to immolate him. And while that was going on, the Tinker died solo to the Viper top lane.
Oh, what on earth? That shouldn't be happening.
I think he TP'd in, got caught by Viper, and like tried to rearm.
Yeah.
And just died too quickly to get the kill. But I mean, he should have been
His Martian missiles are on cooldown, so I mean, between Corrosive and Viper Strike, there's a lot of damage over time.
Yo gets picked off. There's a relocated mid, and now they'll look for Jotum to the north, but can't quite get a range of him. They will end up backing off. Yeah, the Viper's at full health too, so it didn't look like it was much of a fight. Just the Viper chewing the Tinker new one. And I gotta say it, as well as the rest of NVMI are playing, I'm a little concerned for Scandal. He's been dying quite a bit this game. Already 1 and 2, and it's with minimal pressure on him, to be honest. Just the Panda.
He has boots of travel now, but it's like he needs the Blink Dagger as soon as possible, and normally you're looking at boots of travel around 10 minutes.
He'll pop his invis. He wanted to stick around, kill the tower, and then invis his way to safety, and NVMI did not have detection for that. But the glyph there prevents it.
Okay, well, it's going to be a tier 1 top tower as well, so a couple towers going the way of VP, even though one of them gets denied, and they only lose their mid tier 1, so all in all, pretty favorable trades going the way of Virtus Pro.
Yeah. NVMI, still in okay position, and this is such a rich Enchantress. Godblack almost has a mech complete to go with the urn. I mean, you really couldn't ask for more. The guy's 4-1-1. He successfully won mid, or sorry, not mid, bottom lane. He still kept his farm up. He's building the team-oriented items. He's creating tons of space. If they can't capitalize, then it's certainly not on him. He has been the MVP so far for me this game.
Yeah, he's been very high. I mean, this is Enchantress need to do this, and I think this is partly why Enchantress is kind of fallen off, because if those early ganks don't work, suddenly you have a hero who doesn't really offer much to your team at all. And even if you get a few items up, you need to be getting early ganks. But Godblack's done just that, and 4-1-1 is phenomenal. So I think all in all, the rest of NVMI need to step it up. You mentioned Scandal. His Tinker so far has not really had the best game.
Yeah, didn't go for early Ancient stacks, which, especially on Radiant, you often see. You just run up here, stack the Ancients, and then go to check the rune every 2 minutes. But he didn't even attempt it the first few times. And he knew that the supports were bottom for VP. They didn't smoke once. They were usually visible in lane, so I'm a little surprised at the lack of focus on economy. But it's still Tinker, and we've seen it before. You can have this kind of a start and still catch up. Well, and it's going to be a super Tinker, really, GoDz, because he's got natural order on his side, so any item Scandal get will hit that much harder.
And he's got, I mean, like you mentioned, the relocate to help save him. Like, he's always going to have that protection from a Wisp Sven who can come in to save his life. So there's a lot of emphasis on the draft helping protect the Tinker, even if they didn't help him farm early on. It's like, okay, later on, look, you're going to be a pretty unkillable Tinker because you've got all this backup.
And they've made their move towards the top lane. VP, about to group up in their own jungle. Primal Split is ready. It's level 2 as well. Jotum in position with his ultimate, but this tower's dropping fast, and there's no real rotation yet. And now they make the move. VP will head towards the top lane. So they get Godblack. He's got the mech, and Ancient Apparition Ice Blast comes through as BCC jumps in. He eyesights Scandal on the tree line. They want to focus this Tinker down, but Lil is there to bring him back to safety, and the Wisp will return. Then the stun onto G. Illidan not going to get this kill immediately. Now G turns on him, and with the Panda Split available, this is going to force NVMI back, but they're so slow. They're so freaking slow to kill off Godblack. In fact, they're too slow as Lil comes splashing through with the tether at the end of the relocate. Now the Tinker joins the fray. The Wraith King will end up nearly going down here, but not quite yet. Now the Boulder Toss, an additional stun onto Godblack. Can they finally finish this friggin' Enchantress off? Just kill him already! Slay the Bambi! He's finally dead. Jesus, that took a while. And they'll end up losing 3, make it 4.
Oh.
But VP, it's just so frustrating watching this.
That was...
Oh my God.
Scandal was so unsure what to do there, because he... When that War Stomp, or the Echo Stomp from the Elder Titan hit like multiple, like 2, 3 heroes or something, Tinker was middle of TPing in onto the Ursa, and he cancelled it, and then he cancelled it again, like twice in that fight. Tinker cancelled his TP top because he thought if he TP'd in, he would instantly die, and he's probably right. If he TP's in, they stop focusing Godblack on the Enchantress, and they switch and kill off the Tinker instantly, but it looked like he could have maybe gone in and just turned that fight around, but he was just a little bit too scared to do so.
The other thing is, because he got caught up here, it forced the Wisp to use relocate and leave the Sven, and that meant Illidan was pretty much useless.
And he was back, and even when he got relocated back to Fountain and he could rearm his TP to go instantly back in, once Sven's dead, it's like he's got no real protection. He doesn't really have that good zoning, so he kind of chickened out, but at the same time, there was just no options for Scandal that fight. Without a Blink Dagger, he has a Blink now. If he had Blink, he could TP in and instantly blink into trees, but that fight he didn't have his Blink Dagger.
Yeah, it just goes back to all those little things. It's not just the execution in that fight, but it's also the lack of early efficiency with farming the jungle, stacking, and also the team, to be fair, didn't invest much in setting him up. You can sometimes see Enchantress players will stack the jungle for a hero like Tinker, or even the Wisp, but that just wasn't really the case. So this combination of factors has put NVMI in an uncomfortable position. Still definitely not unwinnable, and I'm actually not sure if it's good enough for VP. Like, taking 4 kills, taking the tower, obviously great, but end of the day, you look at the net worth and experience, it's not an overwhelming advantage, and they are still up against Elder Titan Tinker, Wisp Sven, really strong late game combinations once they get like the BKB on the Sven, once the Tinker gets his items up, and it's a slow progression, but eventually he should be able to outfarm heroes like Viper and Brewmaster, who just simply aren't good at flash farming.
Yeah, and I think the important thing for NVMI is they did win the bottom tri-links. BZZ has very little farm whatsoever. He hasn't even got like a Blade Mail at 20 minutes in, just the Blink Dagger up, so the fact this Wraith King is really far behind helps out a lot, because early Blade Mail on Wraith King would be another thing which causes Tinker problems. Between the Corrosive Skin, the Blade Mails, this is not going to be a fun game for Tinker, but getting a Blade Mail this late, it's going to help, but it's going to mean BCZ is just not going to be offering much damage in these fights. So much is relying on like the Viper, the Skywrath, and even the AA ultimate to get kills. Wraith King's just in the front lines, kind of tanking it up.
Yeah, and he's also another hero that just doesn't farm that well. So this goes on long enough, and you do have to worry about just getting blinded and ignored in the fights, even if he does manage to get damage output. So we'll see. But one Blade Mail, it's not that scary for Tinker, but if they do go back for like 2 or 3, Viper here that could potentially build one, that could cause problems for the Tinker. You mentioned Corrosive Skin's pretty good, nice against March. Well, double Blade Mail's quite nice as well. And so I wonder if we'll see that direction from VP.
The not-so-friendly Brewmaster played by G has got a Vladimir's offering, we've been informed. So...
What do you mean we've been informed? Oh, by the Russian caster.
The Russian caster.
I was like, do we really need Twitch chat to tell us that the Brew has some plans? Well, who's PMing you if not the case? But yeah, this will help them go for Roshan. And I'm expecting that from VP fairly soon. NVMI, still annoying to fight around the pit with the Spirit to scout, the Tinker March to spam, but they don't have that one hero that just like really wants to jump in and face tank everything. The Bristleback ban earlier, that might have been the one hero that could just go into the pit and make waves. Sven will get there eventually, but he's not there yet.
VP have all this like lifesteal from the Vlads, from Wraith King, who's already maxed out his aura, but like, where's the actual right-click damage coming from? Viper's dealing some, he's kind of their main source, but apart from that, like, they're not actually getting much benefit from the lifesteal.
And I'm surprised they haven't even thought about this, but the tier 1 bottom does still stand, and as long as that's up, it's a little bit riskier to go towards the pit. And VP getting their core items online, their early to mid-game centric builds, the Ags Viper, the mech on Viper as well, Blink Dagger and Brew, and now the Flats. Like, none of these items are really angling towards late game, so you got to expect soon enough the aggression will come.
I think for NVMI, the next fight looks pretty good because they've got the Sven BKB, and that means just bursting him down to start a fight is so much trickier because the physical damage is not that incredible for VP. They can Viper Strike the Sven, slow him down a bit, but if he's still alive, even when the BKB wears off, like, he can still deal some damage then, so... I think having this BKB now is going to be possibly an opening for NVMI to contest this Roshan.
And they will start working on the Rosh. The Drunken Haze is there on G, onto the Roshan, and NVMI not really in position to contest this yet, but do have to remember they can bring in reinforcements from afar. Wisps Sven are top, Tinker's moving into position, and they do send the Spirit to scout this. And this will discourage VP from just taking the Rosh flat out. And if they hesitate too long, then their top tower will be pressured. Illidan, ultimate ready.
Surprised they're going back in after it gets scouted out. It looks like NVMI are going to go top and just take the tier 2 instead, but...
They actually saw this too. They've got this lane ward mid, and Scandal TP's in on the Centaur. Starts throwing out March. Has to be careful though, as VP can instantly kill him.
Such a slow rush.
It is a really slow rush lineup. No medallion,
I feel like Elder
no
Titan should just stay near. Like, Elder Titan can just stay near and keep on scouting it out with the Spirit, keep on stunning them to stall them, delay, cause them problems, and... NVMI just give this one up kind of for free. They didn't have to give that up. I would say almost certainly they could have at least stalled them and pushed VP away from the pit.
Yeah, it seems their thinking is, like, we're not afraid of VP with an Aegis. This is a good opportunity for us to get gold, and we think we can kill whoever's going to carry it twice without any issues. But
yeah,
giving that to Viper will be a pain in the ass, that's for sure. And actually, it was the Wraith King that picked it up. Not really my favorite Aegis carrier, to be honest. I feel like Viper does a lot more, especially with eggs.
Yeah, Viper's definitely the main damage dealer right now. I guess maybe thinking he's kind of unkillable. He's almost got a BKB on top of his Ag Scepter now, so 1800 HP. Wraith King on the front lines is much squishier, but he's got the reincarnation. He's got a lot more to play around with. So NVMI happy to just sit back, like you said. They don't feel worried about versing an Aegis. They still have all their tier 2 towers, and they have Tinker, Elder Titan. Like, they can easily defend these tier 2 towers without even having to engage. So probably just feeling like, sure, it's an Aegis, but it's not really going to help them win this game anytime soon.
And they are creating a lot of space for Scandal here, just by not pressuring too much. And catch you up in net worth. He's got the Blink Dagger out, the Dagon being leveled up now. He'll pick up the level 2 Dagon. Not going for the early Ghost Scepter, but there is a lot of magic damage from VP, so maybe the Dagon Max is the way to go this time around. And no top lane, relocate onto Jotum. He throws out the Ice Blast immediately. He knew what was coming, but it was too quick from NVMI. No chance to react. Just gets shredded by the Sven.
Well, it does reveal where one of the NVMI observer wards are. Like, you go for a relocate gank like that, it's glaringly obvious that the spot's warded, but even so, they've already got the tier 2 top tower. This ward's pretty much planted there to make it so that they could get that tier 2 tower safely, so the observer ward's kind of already paid for itself.
Bottom lane, Sadoy pursuing out Godblack, who does have a teleport scroll, and even though Viper just can't bring down this friggin' Enchantress, man. This is painful to watch. Well, he'll try for a Viper Strike, but Godblack jukes into the trees. And Godblack has quietly farmed up 2100 gold, so if he wants to build towards a Hex, he's not too far off. And G's not even headed that way. He's rotating towards mid. He's got a Haster ready on the Brew. Haven't seen a Primal Split in like a solid 8-9 minutes, I want to say. But will he get
NVMI really just, they're playing kind of keep away. They're not taking fights. They'll go for a relocate pickoff like we just saw if they're presented, but they're like, let's why team fight against Primal Split, against Ancient Apparition Ultimate, against the Aegis, against this Viper more than anything. So they'll try and delay this bottom tier 1 tower, but
I love this from Godblack. He sees the enemy Brew and he runs at him. Jeez. This is your 4th position hero running at the enemy Brew. We're 26 minutes in, but Godblack has the confidence to do it. He knows the relocate will back him up, which is about to cool down. He knows the Tinker can arrive from afar, and he's just not afraid. That is not a good feeling for VP.
Yeah, it feels like NVMI just more and more as this game goes on are kind of the ones actually controlling the tempo and just have a better grasp as far as the late game's concerned. Because they're sure VP had the Aegis, they took Roshan uncontested, but NVMI just have a Tinker who's getting lots in farm. Sven's going to have a Daedalus soon, and there's not really clear ways of dealing with a lot of these heroes. Like, you've got Corrosive Skin, which is good at certain stages in the mid game, but late game, Viper isn't really a good counter to the Tinker. You've got Viper Strike for the Sven, but if Sven gets enough farm, like, he can kind of just deal with the Viper Strike to some extent, wait it out, or just initiate on the Viper, kill him off to start a fight. So I think NVMI are looking really good right now.
And Illidan's just going to try to force their hand a bit as G makes a jaunt through the woods. Viper Strike is there and will connect on Illidan, but he just BKBs and TPs out, and there is no response for that other than just crying yourself softly to sleep. They'll chase for a bit more, but they can't get anyone. It's not the fact, it's just weird. Like, you mentioned that, and I think you're correct to say this is NVMI's game more and more, but it's just odd the way it's becoming their game. It's becoming their way because VP's not really doing anything. Like, they're just trying to go for casual ganks occasionally. Maybe they get a gank bottom lane. No. Dodging away.
May just die here.
Yeah, he's caught out. Blade Mail will be popped as he tries to retreat. He's got Aegis, though, and this could be 3 deaths for the Wraith King as he loses his ult. Might end up dying a second time. Does he TP out? Oh, the burst damage, too much. Yeah, that's going to be 3 deaths for the Wraith King.
Yeah.
And that is...
Blink to trees or something here. No, he's not going to get to. The Spirit's waiting, and...
Well, there goes all their momentum, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, that Roshan was for absolutely nothing. They got a tier 1 tower bottom out of the Roshan, which is definitely not worth it at this stage of the game.
It was a surprising draft, at least for me. Like, I did not expect NVMI to pick up a Wisp or a Tinker, and I wonder if VP just underestimated their ability to run the strategy. Like, it's not even perfectly executed, but it just is so strong if you don't force their hand at, like, that 15 to 25 minute mark. And it's not that VP can't win, but to me, almost requires NVMI mistakes for them to have a shot, and big mistakes at that.
I feel like against a draft like this, you need to have that strong pushing hero, like the Death Prophet, the Shadow Shaman, something to force your opponents to make a stand, to take a fight, and defend their towers. Viper just doesn't really offer enough pushing power, and the fact their offensive trialing didn't work really also crippled Virtus Pro come mid game time. So,
to be honest, I was expecting to support Wraithkid in something else as a core. I was not expecting the H apparition last pick.
Yeah, I think that would have been a stronger option. Running a core Wraith King against like Tinker, against Sven.
Wisp move speed as well.
Yeah, it's not been an easy game for him. Everyone, I mean, you look at Phobos, he's got Saj and Yasha. Like, these heroes are just so fast and can just kind of kite this Wraith King around with ease.
Yeah, with Tether, he will be at max move speed pretty much. That is... not often you see an Elder Titan use that, and that's before you start getting the Spirit onto heroes, so... Might not even need
Warcry as well. Like, this team's super mobile.
And that's all they have to do, GoDz. They just have to kite until the Panda ult ends, the BKBs are down, Scandal and G are just inches away from each other. It's like two people standing on opposite sides of a wall, but not realizing how close they are to hugging.
Yeah. G's still lurking around, but looks like he's going to be going for a side device, and that's going to be the exact item they need if they want to be able to kill off heroes like Tinker, engage on the Sven. I think a Hex will definitely help them out quite a lot.
It's been a silent game as of late. We've seen 4 kills in about 15 minutes, I want to say, and prior to that, we had like 17 kills in 15 minutes, so... The pace slowing down, much to NVMI's liking, and they continue to get farm. Illidan working towards the Daedalus. The Tinker, Dagon 5, about to be complete. He's just got the gold for the 5th recipe now. And from there, it's just a simple matter from your Ethereal Blade. Oh, Sadoy, this could be bad. There's a Boots will travel in top lane. Scandal immediately. Rearming, bringing in the Wisp as well, but the BKB will be popped. This is going to be Scandal's death, it looks like. Oh, can he get out of this one? No, tries to TP out. The Earth Splitter cancels his TP. Great reactions from DK Phobos. And in the end, Scandal ends up living. Just when he's like, okay, I can kill this Tinker, no problem. Oh wait, 4 heroes top lane. Ah, shit, I'm screwed.
Yeah, the Tinker's probably was in a bit of a scare there until the Wish showed up. He really needs his Ghost Scepter soon just to negate some of that damage. But yeah, that was really well played by Phobos with the Earth Splitter to cancel the TP, kind of predicting a potential BKB TP and laying it down. So VP losing their most farmed hero in such a manner is just kind of sums up the state of this game. Like they're trying to just solo farm, get a few items up, but you can't really do that against a Tinker and a Wisp anymore.
Yeah, you have to group. And the problem is that they don't have the push power, like you said. I mean, maybe if they had big damage items on the Viper earlier in the game, but generally you're not going to see that, and they just don't have any right-click. Wraithking, his crit's useless against buildings. They have no minus armor to take structures down faster. No Desolator, no Assault Cuirass, no Exorcism, no Shaman Wards. They had a good 5-man in terms of fighting, but in terms of pushing, it was a bit weak, and they just haven't pushed.
Yeah, you're not going to outfarm. Like, NVMI have good flash farming heroes in Tinker and Sven to a good extent as well. Especially with the Wisp backing him up, Sven is a pretty good flash farmer. VPs, they can't farm quickly. Viper's not a good farmer. Similar story for the Wraith King. He does have his Maelstrom now, so he can farm a bit more efficiently, but all in all, they're just not going to win a farming battle.
They're bringing in the whole team. Viper Strike on the Illidan top lane, while 2 heroes TP in mid, and the entirety of VP descend on Lil. But he gets 4-step backwards, and Goblak keeps his buddy alive for now. They're going to bring in reinforcements soon. Don't chase Goblak. That is fool's gold. Difficult to kill, and not particularly important at this stage. Lil now gets caught by Clap. Will die to the concussive shot. But all that effort, it's only a Wisp, and Illidan on his way out here. He's got a BKB at a TP, so there's no way they're killing him off.
Yeah. He'd rather not have to use a BKB charge. Is
he going to turn on this? No, he's just thinking, do I really have to BKB? Yeah, you really have to. Sorry, buddy.
He wanted to just TP. He was actually, I think he was hoping BCZ would stun him as he was running so he could TP after the stun and there was nothing to cancel his TP, but play it safe. It is a BKB down another second, which is annoying, but it's still 8 seconds, and the fact he's a Wisp to help him out, and NVMI are in such a good position right now, I don't think he's going to be too worried about the BKB duration.
We're getting to that point, GoDz. It's been max natural order for a long time. The Ethereal Blade's nearly out. This Tinker's Ethereal Blade shotgun combo will one-shot heroes that are like well past 1,000 health. And that's like not even counting the full rotation of nukes with the... Oh, hold that thought. Ice Blast coming in. G's hunting. Scandal gets caught out by the initiation. There has been a Hex up on the Brew. He revealed it earlier in the previous fight bottom, but didn't have the follow-up to get the kill. This time he will. They lose their Tinker. This could be big for VP. They find a secondary kill. It's a 2 for 2, but it supports for cores. Great trade for them thus far, and now looking for Godlike. Boulder Toss, they've got one more, so there's no TP out for Godlike. Doesn't have a TP scroll anyway. They'll end up losing 3. That was about as good as it's going to get.
And they'll get a Roshan off of it as well. They go straight towards the pit, so some hope restored for VP. The Hex from G helping make things happen, and BZZ will have a Mjolnir fairly soon if he wants to upgrade his Maelstrom, which is probably a pretty good... Probably want to do so just for the extra damage output.
Yeah, good to throw on the Viper as well if NVMI try to focus him.
I think... I mean, Virtus Pro by no means out of this game. They just... I feel like they have to outplay NVMI. Like, they've got to, like, up their game while NVMI have to get caught out here and there for Virtus Pro to win this game, which by no means is... by no means, though, is, I feel like, a long shot. This is not an easy to execute draft from NVMI. There's a lot of small things that can go wrong with relocate, with Tinker TPing into bad spots, so...
It's a more finesse-based lineup, I think, is the way to put it.
And again, Sven gets kind of caught out. I mean, not really caught out, but Sven's in a bit of a tough spot, has to BKB TP. If this just keeps repeating, I mean, he's not really... BKB TPing is bad because it shortens the duration of his BKB, but it's also time where he's not farming. He's got to go find a new lane. He kind of wanted to be in the enemy jungle stealing their farm, but being denied that. And Virtus Pro, last minute or so of play has gone really well.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it is, just like you said, execution. NVMI, I think their draft on paper looks incredible at this stage of the game, but the execution has been kind of mediocre, especially from the Tinker. I mean, to be honest, from the Tinker. Like, that's been the main hero getting caught out, and we haven't really seen Scandal find too many kills around the map. But yeah, if they step up their game, if they play, like, if they put in like a B+ effort and VP puts it in A+, I think still NVMI might win this. But you know, if they put in a C or a D or a failing grade, then yeah, VP can still take it. And they're gonna look for DK Phobos. It's another BKB TP. They're real annoying.
TPs are just...
Maybe you have to buy an Abyssal Blade on someone, because this is just getting ridiculous.
That's gonna be BZZ's next item for Wraith King after Mjolnir. He's got to go for the Abyssal. Like, he needs the extra lockdown again to fight Sven anyways. But yeah, for the BKB TPs, it's really plaguing them right now.
Well, NVMI still banking on their incredible burst damage from the Tinker to carry them through. And they continue to scout with the Spirit. The spot BZZ moving in up the ramp, but they don't really want to go on the Wraith King. Not without backup. And they'll rotate Illidan in the Wisp top. Just looking to push out these side lanes as they TP the Tinker forward, but there is backup here for him. Scandal's got 2 heroes on the way. And BZZ may run into them at the wrong time. Are we actually going to have a clash? Will we have some aggression? There's your stun to start. The Blade Mail not even popped before going down. Now the BKB from Illidan stands directly on top of the Wraith King, but he blinks out, and then the Ice Blast connects. It only hits the Wisp, forcing Illidan back as well. Well, it hit him, but it doesn't really matter because he was BKB'd for most of this. He gets stunned again. Scandal makes his way out. They didn't catch him in the tree line, so they'll lose, in the end, the Sven for this. Could have been a whole lot worse. And the Wisp ends up going down. Killed off by the Shatter effect on the retreat out.
He didn't get the tether off on the Sven to relocate him out there. Maybe because it was still BKB, but yeah, that was not the kind of fight NVMI won.
Yeah, I think it was because he was the tether ended and tried to retether, but couldn't because he was still BKB'd.
Yeah. It's weird NVMI are like in such a spot on the map because they had Elder Titan mid and Enchantress at bottom lane, so maybe thinking they're going to get a quick pick off, but these are not easy heroes to gank. Wraith King and Brewmaster both with Blink Daggers to escape. You're not going to find the AA or the Skyrath. They're always sitting back, hiding behind teammates. So you either find the Viper, Brewmaster, or Wraith King, 2 of which have a Blink, one of which and the other one has a BKB and is just really tanky hard to kill. So I don't think they should be going for these like 2-3-man gank squads when Elder Titan and Enchantress aren't there. Like, especially the Elder Titan, he offers a lot of extra damage and important utility from the natural order.
VP's lineup is a bit easier to execute. I mean, it's kind of hard to screw up a Wraith King. You jump on them, you pop your Blade Mail, and you stun and right-click. That can't really go wrong. Viper, just BKB mech and auto-attack. And the rest of these heroes, the Scarlet Mage has decent setup for his ult, and ease of execution. You know, we actually debated about this when we were working on the hexagons, and it was one way to kind of evaluate a lineup of, like, what kind of a lineup is this? How, like, obviously running, like, the Meepo Bounty Hunter strat for Cloud9, very difficult to execute. The one they ran at TI4. Some drafts quite a bit easier, but, well, and Johnum will TP out. But this lineup does have a pretty high barrier to entry in terms of execution, and NVMI just not quite finding the right fights.
Yeah, no, I agree. I can compare it to like some of those like 10-minute group up as five kind of push strats, which are a lot easier to execute. This is one of those you're gonna be really careful and clever with your decision making, because otherwise you get caught out and you look a bit stupid here.
Oh god, Black, you're walking into a hex, my friend. But there's backup coming. They know the relocate's up, so they're not gonna force it.
You'll be okay.
Well, the Scandal, he's gonna Ghost Scepter right as the Ice Blast hits him, so he's gotta get out of here quickly. That's some...
It is an Aghanim Scepter Ancient Apparition now, so...
He actually has to be careful about that. Like, he's fine now, he had basically full HP, but...
Yeah.
If he's a bit lower, that could go south.
Normally, if he runs into a Viper, like, he may get Viper Strike, but he can just TP home and be safe and take maybe half HP. But if there's an A Ice Blast there with the Viper, that could be very close to killing off Scandal if he's not careful.
I am starting to feel a little bit like NVMI are kind of purposeless. Like, I'm sure they understand how the draft's supposed to work, but after the way the fights have gone, they're not real. There's no like clear objectives for them at this point. I'm not seeing like one item that's going to turn the game. Just obviously getting farm on Tinker and Sven will be helpful, but it's like earlier in this game they knew exactly what they had to do. Hold that thought. Smoke Gang from VP. Jeez,
they definitely lost their confidence, I think. Whereas I think VP, they're smoking into the enemy jungle. They know exactly what they want to do.
They're gonna annihilate God Black. Untouchable, this says y'all. Now top lane. The rotation will come for the Taker. Wraith King gonna blink and TP out, and he'll head towards the bottom lane. Well, meanwhile in mid, NVMI go for the trade. They do have now an ultimate orb picked up on Illidan. Is this a Lincoln Sphere, you think? What's he going
Lincoln's or Hex, but yeah, more likely the Lincoln Sphere.
I guess that Viper Strike is causing him some problems. And he just gets melted. BZZ, BKB, TP out again from Illidan. It only ends the 1 minute cooldown ultimate on Wraith King. So he's pretty much at his 4-second BKB now. Chase onto Sadoy. They rotate in Illidan. He's still got God Strength for a little bit longer, but it's about to end. And now he might get turned on. Yeah, he's not big bad red Sven anymore. He's just regular old blue boy. He walks into a Scarlet Mage ult, drops quickly to this, while Jotum gets pounded from the rear from DK Phobos. Then they Hex Scandal. Boulder Toss will find him. They'll immolate him down. They get the kill in the Taker again, and they look for DK Phobos next. Immediate TP out. Can they kill him off in time? Need a crit. Oh, only got the one. Needed more than that.
Man, it's not going well for NVMI. Yeah, they are crumbling. They're just too split up. Like, Enchantress kind of constantly bottom lane alone. We got caught up by the Smoke Gang. Elder Titan's always just off solo pushing lanes. They have all these heroes solo pushing out lanes, and VP are just capitalizing and punishing it with their Smoke Gangs and with their rotations.
And now the push in. No, they'll force out the buyback from Scandal. They'll retreat. Yeah. But there's an Abyssal Blade up on BZZ. Or no, sorry, not Abyssal Blade, a Basher. Abyssal Blade coming. And this means the BKB TPs are not a guaranteed get out of jail free card anymore.
And that's all they've been using the BKBs for. That's the other thing with NVMI. Like, you look at these BKB, half the time they're using BKBs, it's just a TP out. They're not using them to take engagements. If they were grouped up and had 5v5 clashes using their BKBs, I think they would go pretty well, but they're using it very defensively, because like Illidan with the Sven is always off on his own, like trying to go for, well, not on his own with the Wisp, but him and Wisp just keep going for these kills. They find someone like a Wraith King, and getting a reincarnation is not worth it for a BKB charge. So it needs to be better exchanges for NVMI.
It really does. And who's going to find those? Well, this will be a good one. They'll get Jotum. They at least kill off the support Ancient Apparition, who was quite out of position, attempting to place a deep board. He got one down, though, and no gem actually picked up on either team yet this game, I don't think. Unless there's one on the Couriers. Yeah, there's been 0 gems this game. Oh, hold that thought. They've gone in. They get the Scarlet Mage, and now rotation's coming forth. They want to pick up this Wraith King, but he doesn't have his ultimate ready. So even if they kill him once, it'll have to be a double kill. They'll bring him down the first time. Reinforcements are streaming in. G's coming from the south, and the Viper's here as well. But they just focus BZC. They annihilate him with the Sven damage. Then now the Panda. He can turn this perhaps. Drunken Haze thrown out. There's no BKB anymore for Illidan, so they can Boulder Toss him, control him for some time, and try to focus him down. But the Sven just crits through the Pandas, and the Earth Panda's got to run. Finally, NVMI actually fight with 5 and don't lose 1 at the start. And they take it easily.
I mean, exactly. You fight with 5 and look what happens. They've been spending way too much time trying to go for these like smaller scale engagements. So they win a bit of a fight here. Roshan has respawned, and Sven may be going to consider going for that one. He has not got God Strength, but there's still a lot of damage output from this Radiant team.
It seems like Illidan's going to be the real carry this game for VP, the way it's developing. Tinker kind of there as backup damage, and Definitely not the primary initiator.
He's been involved in 5 kills at 43 minutes as a Dagon 4 Tinker. Like, that's just not cutting it.
Still doesn't have heat plate. He's got 100 gold short of it with the buyback. Now spamming the march. Trying to fight in the pit as G gets ready to blink it, but this will be cancelled by the march, so nicely done there. Instead, Sadoi runs directly into the fray that Age is picked up immediately by Sven, but Ice Blast will come through. That connects on 3, and it's trouble in the pit. Lil trying to survive for this time, but G will slowly club him down, finishes him off. Illidan being pursued out. He's going to lose the Aegis once. They got to buy back, I think, or they're going to lose him again a second time. Wisp will buy back. Looks to rejoin this one. And now the Wisp comes in. He brings in reinforcements, but where's that BKB? It's still cooling down for 30 seconds. Elder Titan Stomp isn't enough to set up a follow-up kill. Illidan just getting controlled. Now the Blade Mail. Where's that stun? Not getting off. Now throwing the stun onto Illidan, but G is forced to make his retreat. And they did end up killing off the Viper. A secondary stun from Illidan, but just can't stand against the Wraith King. But once and Future King is back, the skeleton lives again, and he's balling out of control. Chasing forward, now clapping onto Illidan. Primal splitting to kill off the Sven, so they get the Aegis, but it comes at a heavy cost. The Tinker did hold on to Cheese at the very least, although he died for it. And BZZ chases Godblack. They're looking for more kills here. A crit or 2 would do him in. He attacks real slowly, but the Ice Blast will shatter him, along with the auto attacks, as Lil, with the buyback, barely able to escape.
It's the 4 seconds Sven BKB, and they just...
He needs a new one at this point. Like, that's got to be his next item.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. He's really just struggling to do too much in these fights. He kind of wants to get an MK... Well, I guess BKB means you're not going to be missing to the Drunken Haze anyways if you're BKB'd. But yeah, with the 4-second BKB, he's getting Drunken Haze. He's missing half of his attacks, and he's getting kited around by all these slows and stuff. But at the same time, a lot of that is the Viper Strike. So yeah, I don't know. It's just he needs more backup from Scandal more than anything. Like, that's really the one thing that has just not existed this game at all is
45
damage output from Scandal.
45-minute Ethereal Blade. I would say like the kind of the ideal timing that we see is around like that 28 to 30-minute mark if all goes well. Maybe not with the Dagon 5, but like at least the Dagon 2 or 3. This is extremely slow.
Yeah,
it's just not cutting it.
It's slow, and it's... I mean, slow farm is sometimes okay if you're
making up for it elsewhere, yeah.
He's been just very low impact and kind of a non-factor for a lot of this game, and he's kind of just been trying to play this farming game, but he's number 5 on the net worth chart. He's not even... Yeah, he's not even that farm.
Now, to be fair, like, his team didn't do as much for him as, like you mentioned... A lot of times teams will make Tinker the 1 position to the extreme, and they'll spend a lot of their support's energy stacking camps, stacking Ancients. That being said, he also just didn't do much to help himself. Didn't go for any of his early stacks, and has died repeatedly this game. Like, we usually see Tinkers at this point very close to 10 CS a minute if they're having a great game, and he's nowhere in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Well, we've been ragging on Scandal a lot. Still, end of the day, he's an amped-up Tinker. And they still do have the Sven, and we've seen if Illidan gets to stick on someone for even a few seconds, NVMI do have the burst damage to find kills. And the Bruce Split is starting to fall off quite a bit. That is my one concern for VP. He's almost better off standing in his regular form than splitting in some of these fights.
Yeah, he hasn't gone for the Ag Scepter, so he's not like all about the ultimate with this item build of his. And yeah, I definitely agree. If he goes for something... Like, he can go for an Abyssal Blade himself if he's sick of all these TPs out. He can go for an Assault Crest, and he can be much more... I mean, he can spend a lot more time in his just normal form, not relying on the Primal Split, except when they need the crowd control that it provides.
Well, for now, VP just chilling in the NVMI jungle. Roche won't be up for some time, and nobody's really even attempted to crack a base. We're 47 minutes in, GoDz. Tier 2 steady mid for both teams. This is the slowest Russian Dota game I think I've seen all weekend.
Yeah, neither team with great... I mean, neither draft really excels as far as pushing goes.
NVMI do have the Sven Wisp, which is decent, but yeah, there's no like Death Prophet, Razor, Ags Refresher, nothing like that.
Looks like Sven is going for the MKB, not a new BKB. I'd say MKB could be a basher, but I think he wants MKB against the Evasion and the Drunken Haze. Viper even has a Butterfly, so MKB definitely a good item choice eventually. The problem is just going to be he still has a 4-second BKB even when he gets this. And
I wonder if they just wait for the next Roche, to be honest, at this point. It's still a few minutes off.
Neither team can really end the game right now. It is a waiting game, so...
Are we heading for a longest game record, you think?
Oh, I don't.
We're not nearly in that neighborhood yet, but it just... even those games that ended up being like 100 minutes, there was more building damage done by both teams at this point than what we've seen here. It's very unusual to see tier 2 mids still standing, especially in this patch. 48 minutes. It's quite an anomaly of a game.
I mean, I don't think this game goes that long. Just I feel like with Sven eventually, like Sven with
Phobos.
6 slots.
Phobos! Oh, if there's a bash or two here, this could be bad, but didn't get one.
Okay. He's actually got an ace. This is such a farmed Elder Titan. Like, I haven't seen huge amounts of impact from him, but that's more like the pace of this game. So, but the fact that he has all these items late game is going to make a pretty big impact.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing him go for just a pure punching build, you know, like get some right-click damage, maybe an Abyssal Blade of his own. Like, I feel like they want to have multiple heroes that can carry the load, and right now it's Tinker and Sven, but oftentimes in these fights we're just seeing Tinker instantly dropping without getting much accomplished. Plus he doesn't have buyback, so there's a decent chance Scandal won't be able to live through a fight.
Yeah. I think apart from like an Abyssal Blade, maybe an MKB on Phobos for the evasion as well. Like I think going for damage is probably his best bet right now as well. Like this is going the distance. Get late game items, and now we'll see movement. Both teams smoked up. They'll run into each other.
And they'll run into each other in the river of all things. Phobos pursued out. There's a Panda Clap as well as a Hex, but Dagon 5, Ethereal Blade, Tinker, Scandal finally finds his opening. He'll go for one. Then he leaps forward onto the BKB Viper. Can't really do much during this time as they deal with the Brewmaster. He's forced to buy back Scandal, TPing out, but he'll be back soon as Gauntblack retreats to the south. Pursued out by Scandal, nearly finished off next to another Toxin. Another Viper ultimate will finish the job, and the Tinker arrives. He zaps down the Egyptian. Finally, Scandal getting his openings. He's got cheese ready if he needs it. Not using it just yet. Phobos being kited, controlled by Sadoy, while up on the hill, BZC has dealt with the Wisp. So in the end, not the best fight, although it looked quite good, but they did force out the Brew buyback.
There were 2 buybacks, I think.
There was a double buyback. Well? Yeah, Wraith King as well.
Yeah, so it was double buyback. I think it was actually a 1-5 for NVMI. Tinker been chastising this guy, but he came up big in that fight. He kept Goblack alive for so long. First, when Sadoy was going on him, he E-bladed for Sadoy's BKB, and then when Sadoy's BKB'd about to finish off Goblack, he re-armed, E-bladed Goblack to keep him alive a bit longer. So Scandal made some nice plays in that team fight, and I would say he largely won his team that fight with some of those nice little plays of his. But still a fairly, I mean, VP lose 4, they used 2 buybacks, so definitely a net worth loss for them, but they've got most of their core items, so they don't really mind too much about losing out on, like, as far as actual net worth goes for their team there. They're still in an okay position, and so much, as we've said time and time again, it's just going to be execution now.
And, well, one thing that will help execution against this mobility of NVMI is reliable lockdown. They get the first Abyssal Blade on BZZ. Probably the only one we'll see from this team, but we might see one from someone on NVMI if the Sven wants to go that route. He is also working towards his MKB, and this will help them to control the Sven, who is starting to become a problem in the fights. Like, when he has God Strength on, VP just do not want to fight him. And with the Lincoln Sphere and BKB, there's no way to prevent him from charging at you with full move speed. They have no other single target spells that go through it. But it is still the Foresight at BKB. So yeah, I think that'll be Illidan's next pickup after buyback is a full duration 10-second one.
Yeah, eventually we'll need to replace the drums with something, but yeah, I think the 10-second BKB definitely going to be useful again. So we'll see. I mean, all in all, Roshan at this stage of the game is not really a game changer. I don't feel the actual Aegis is not going to help VP push high ground when you're against this NVMI draft. So it's more just take Roshan because, well, it's some gold, it's there, we may as well take it. It's not going to do us any harm. So for VP, I don't see this Roshan really changing the state of this game very much. Not to say it's a bad thing to do by any means.
And I do like this, giving G the Aegis here, because we saw last fight, he just died, doesn't have buyback available now, and unlike the Wraith King, doesn't have a built-in second life. So this ensures they'll get off the Primal Split, or at least he'll be able to run around right-clicking, Drunken Hazing, using his Hex. All very important for this team. They need his lockdown. And they are making their way top. Looking for the Wisp, who's just a bit too far north for this time, though. Right as I say that, there's a smoke. Stop the field. NVMI just barely dodging this one. Might not get caught out.
I'm surprised they smoked, but
they were just out of range of the ward, too. They were, like, back here.
Yeah.
So it's an odd place to smoke, though.
It's like it's nighttime. You're not actually hiding from the enemy, because if they come close, they reveal the smoke anyway. So the smoke didn't help them hide. I think it was just a kind of panic smoke. It didn't actually achieve very much.
Do they go in on G here top lane? No, they don't want to risk it. They don't know where this backup is.
He's got the Aegis, so they could probably instantly kill him with the God Strength if they get the stun off, but he can always blink dodge the stun, and hey, he's got Aegis, so not worth even trying.
Yeah, it used to be the stun would follow you, but even just blinking and BKBing will work too, so there's lots of ways to deal with it. I don't like that change on Sven, the removing the fact that it couldn't be disjointed. Like, his stun's not the best, in my opinion, to begin with. Ridiculously long cooldown. 13-second stun. Or 13-second cooldown on the stun, I should say.
What?
No carry build for DK Phobos. He just gets another casual. He gets a casual
Scandal
Sange.
bottom. Oh,
sorry.
caught out.
So, didn't even use the Abyssal Blade.
I think the Blade Mail cancelled his blink. BZD just Blade Mailed in and caught him out with a stun, so...
Tinkerino, fortunately, has a buyback now. He may have to expend it. They're going to force this. The BOT and the Viper and Sadoy is absolutely monstrous. Heart of Tarrasque, Butterfly up. I don't know if this Viper will die. He's definitely living through the BKBs, and my concern is for NVMI, can they kill him afterwards? They'll have to try, because he's sieging with PZZ in the front. There's got to be a buyback on Tinker. They don't have a choice about this. The tier 3 is dropping too quickly. They're not using it yet, though. They're hoping to catch VP a little bit overextended, but we're not seeing it yet. They're just focusing on buildings, just working on objectives, and now God Strength. The buyback's there. The Elder Titan Stomp again on 2. That's going to set up the Sven with a huge double crit. He slashes down the Aegis, also brings down the Wraith King through his ult. Maybe it's enough for Milladin, but his BKB ends, and then it's his turn to get annihilated, and they still haven't addressed the Viper as he pursues out DK Phobos, spamming his auto attacks at him. Scandal is driven back to the well. I think he'll barely survive through this Ancient Apparition Eggs, but he's going to drop low to this burst damage, and the follow-up is here. Illidan bump back, and he's going to die again. 6 minutes before he can buy back again. 100 seconds on the sideline. Godblack pursued back to the well. Will fall, and it looks like VP just had too many lives for NVMI to deal with. Losing the Tinker bottom, not having this double life for him. I don't know if it would have mattered. Maybe VP were just too strong at this point, but it definitely made things more difficult.
That Tinker getting caught out was... I would say the game side, because if he's still alive, he can lay down layers of March of the Machines, and you can't really push high ground because the creep wave gets cleared out instantly. He can also just E-Blade Dagon from the high ground, get someone instantly down to half HP. He doesn't even have to kill them, he just has to get them low, and it deters VP from going high ground if they've already got multiple heroes low HP. So Tinker not getting caught out there, and I think he wants to. I think once he gets caught out, he's going to instantly buy back. If he buys back right away and starts preparing to defend, you can't allow Virtus Pro to get high ground with 5 heroes, take out the tier 3 tower, be already in good positions to deal with the Tinker, because he bought back as the fight had begun, and by then it's already too late for him to have the impact he needs.
He's still sitting on this cheese. Poor Scandal.
That's from like 2 Roches ago or something.
If he gets caught by anything, he just dies. So like, there's never a situation where he can use it. And then when he does escape, he's hit by Ice Blast anyway, so it wouldn't help him. Rough game. And it looks like VP are going to take game 1 of this best of 3. It is a best of 3, guys. Oh man, voice cracking. It is best of 3. At long last, we'll have not be a 1, so there will be a chance for a comeback here from NVMI, but I think it's Godblack's draft. I still like it. I still think it could have worked, but the execution was just lacking this game, Gods.
Yeah, alright. And VP far from perfect themselves as well, I'd say. The tri-lane, I don't think the execution was that bad. They definitely just weren't really ready for the early Enchantress ganks, so I think VP definitely have some points to improve on as well, but they also, I would say, were more likely to be caught by surprise by this Go Black draft. I don't think they were expecting the Tinker, the Void, the Tinker, the Wisp, and the Sven shenanigans that came their way, but even so.
It's extremely unusual to see a team lose an offensive tri-lane and win a game. Like, this is... Yeah. I'm betting the stats on that are like somewhere in the neighborhood of like, you win 80 to 90% of those games, unless your solos dominate. And their solos didn't really dominate. Elder Titan was actually beating Viper early on, amazingly enough. The Tinker mid was even with Panda. Like, I'd say 9 times out of 10, that's not good enough. But VP just outplayed them in the mid game and the late game. Well, it's going to be an all-in push. NVMI, they'll try for it.
I'm pretty sure there's mega groups. So how's this game still going? We're talking as if it's over, but they are going for one last GG push. No buybacks on the Radiant side. Buyback for the Viper, the Wraith King, the Ancient Apparition. This is doomed to fail.
There's a glyph. There are triple buybacks available.
They've got the double wards, so they're ready for this.
And there's a Necrobook pushing in the bottom lane. And they just can't sit back for too long. G wants to force the issue. He jumps in on Illidan. He gets the Hex off Lil. Trying to relocate him out. Won't be able to do so. He only relocated a few inches back, so he's probably done for. Cyclone up while Goblek 4 steps away to the high ground. The Tinker will arrive, but Scandal, one Ice Blast, one Viper Strike. He's just done for. And it'll be DK Phobos next. He gets critted to pieces by BZZ. Trying to keep him alive was Lil. It won't matter. He's going to go down. The GGs get called, and NVMI. It was a really interesting draft, but the execution simply not there. We'll drop game 1 of this best of 3.
Yeah, G's Hex was probably the most important part of that game when it comes to Virtus Pro's draft and how they actually turn things around, because it started to look pretty bad for them come mid-game time. They weren't really getting much done. NVMI, sure, their execution and use of the Tinker wasn't fantastic, but it still looked like they had a draft that should take the game. But G found great pickoffs using the Hex. Even the Hex aside, like BZZ finding the pickoff at bottom lane on the Tinker. These little pickoffs, just things that shouldn't happen, but things that kind of decided the game when Virtus Pro found them.
Well, with that being said, guys, it's game 1 of a best of 3. It goes the way of Virtus Pro, now needing one more win to make their way into the grand final. So the winner of this game, of course, will play Na'Vi versus Empire. That best of 3 coming up directly afterwards. I'm LD, he's GoDz, the Davids are back, and we'll take a quick break here beyond the summit. When we return, we'll be live with game number 2. Stay tuned.